Hello and good evening, Keluarga Malaysia. You're watching News at 10. I'm Berita RTM. Making the headlines tonight. Enforcement agencies permitted to conduct probe on anyone. Kids vaccination opens for 5 days from Monday. The rule of law applies to everyone, irrespective of their standing, and enforcement agencies have the right to carry out investigations within their jurisdictions. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said if there were criminal allegations against an individual, they can be investigated by the relevant agencies such as the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC, Police, Customs and Immigration Departments.
Menghormati separation ataupun pengasingan kuasa di dalam sistem demokrasi kita. Sebagai pengamal undang-undang, saya faham tentang separation of power ataupun pengasingan kuasa ini, doktrin pengasingan kuasa, dan saya menghormati setiap tiang ataupun setiap cabang ini. Menghormati kebebasan legislatif di dalam membuat undang-undang, di dalam meluluskan undang-undang dalam parlimen, menghormati sistem kehakiman dari segi mengendalikan kes mahkamah, malah dari segi membuat penghakiman pun kita menghormati dan tidak pernah campur tangan di dalam keputusan mahkamah dan cara mereka mengendalikan mahkamah. Itu kita tak campur tangan. Itu jaminan daripada kerajaan.
When met after attending a closed-door gathering with Berita Jalinan Rakyat personnel in Pahang today, the Premier said that no one could question enforcement agencies for investigating anyone in the country. However, he added that the relevant agencies do not need to reveal or publish in the media the names of those involved in their investigations to safeguard the judicial institution. On another matter, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri, who is also UMNO Vice President, reminded the Barisan Nasional Machinery to avoid last-minute preparations in facing the 15th general election. The Prime Minister said GE15 will be held by July next year, and he has instructed the BN and UMNO machineries to always be prepared as election day is just around the corner.
Bagi parti politik untuk menghadapi pilihan raya, setahun bukanlah satu jangka masa yang lama. Jadi kena bersedia. Itu kalau paling lewat setahun. Pilihan raya mungkin diadakan lebih awal daripada tarikh akhir penggal. Maknanya kalau paling lewat setahun, kalau lebih awal, tentulah jangka masa itu lebih dekat. Jadi sebab itu saya minta kalau di Bera ni semua jentera, tak kira UMNO, Barisan Nasional perlu sentiasa bersiap siaga. Kerana akhirnya pilihan raya akan tiba juga. Kita tak nak kelang kabut berlaku di kalangan jentera.
The Premier also expressed satisfaction with the cooperation shown by component parties involved in the BN machinery, including deactivating the Jalinan Rakyat initiative. The National COVID-19 Immunisation Programme for Children Kits will be open for 5 days, beginning tomorrow until 25th June. Deputy Health Minister Dr. Nur Azmi Ghazali said the vaccination drive was in conjunction with the National Immunisation Week 2022 that has been celebrated on 16 June. In a statement today, Dr. Nur Azmi said this vaccination drive is to cater the parents who now wish to get the COVID-19 vaccine for children who missed out on the opportunity before, and the Health Ministry concerned for the safety of the children from vaccine-preventable diseases. He said interested parents could take their children aged 5 to 11 to health clinics under the Health Ministry without having to make an appointment from tomorrow until Friday. Vaccination is based on the supply at the facilities, and should the stock for the day run out, parents can bring their children the next day. He added parents who had just found out about the COVID-19 vaccination or just decided to allow their children to be vaccinated were encouraged to take this opportunity. As for children who will be turning 5, parents could still make appointments for their kids according to the suitable date and place through the MySejahtera application. The proposal to resolve the road congestion issues, such as imposing a 10-year age limit on vehicles, needs to be scrutinised as it is a complex matter that requires understanding and research. Transport Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Wee Ka Siong said this was because to implement the proposal, the country should provide a complete public transport network system. He said Malaysia is still in the process to complete its public transportation network through various projects, such as the Mass Rapid Transit MRT initiative.
Penyelesaiannya bukan satu, banyak lagi yang perlu kita lihat. Pertama, betul, kalau kita nak suruh jangan pakai kereta, tapi kita mesti ada satu jaringan sistem pengangkutan awam yang lebih sempurna. Sekarang kita masih dalam proses untuk menyempurnakannya. Baru saja kita buka MRT laluan MRT 2 fasa 1. Fasa 2 kita tunggu 7 bulan kemudian kita akan mula.
The minister was commenting on the proposal from a group of researchers from University Kebangsaan Malaysia UKM recently, suggesting that vehicles that are more than 10 years old should be disposed of to resolve the road congestion issue in the city. Meanwhile, the Terima shuttle service from Johor Bahru Central JB Central Station to Woodlands Station in Singapore resumed operations today after being suspended for 2 years following the COVID-19 pandemic. Datuk Seri Dr. Wee Ka Siong said the resumption of the service was well received as almost 70,000 tickets had been sold for a period of 1 month. He said the move was seen to reduce congestion on the Johor Causeway after the service was suspended on 24th March 2020 due to the pandemic.
Minggu pertama ini kita hanya mensasarkan 240 kerana ada permintaan, kerana kita perlu menyeraskan MySejahtera, MyICA dan ada ciri-ciri yang perlu kita ketengahkan, iaitu dalam minggu pertama di mana checkpoints itu kena membuat sedikit kerja penyelarasan. Jadi ini yang menyebabkan daripada 320 untuk minggu pertama akan dikurangkan jadi 240.
Met after flagging off at the Terima shuttle train at JB Central, he said 7,000 passengers were targeted to be able to use the service daily when it is fully operational. Meanwhile, Johor Menteri Besar Dato' Onn Hafiz Ghazi expressed his appreciation to the Ministry of Transport and KTMB as well as all parties involved in the resumption of the Terima shuttle operation. A total of 31 trips will be provided daily, namely 18 trips for the JB Central Woodlands route and 13 trips for the Woodland JB Central route with a frequency of 30 minutes during peak hours. Kelantan Public Works Department JKR has submitted a detailed report on the East-West Highways maintenance issue, especially due to the lack of allocation. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department Economy Datuk Seri Mustafa Muhammad said for the Kelantan stretch of the highway, 16.6 million ringgit had been spent in 2021 on maintenance work and 10.9 million ringgit for the same purpose at 11 locations of the highway this year. Speaking to reporters after a working visit to the federal route FT004 at the Greek-Juli border today, Datuk Seri Mustafa said overall maintenance work on the highway has been carried out in stages, but a bigger allocation is needed, especially at the Perak stretch of the highway and at the border in Kelantan.
Apabila jalan tidak diselenggara dengan sempurna, ini menimbulkan ancaman kepada keselamatan. Dan jalan raya Timur Barat ini 300 lebih kilometer berbaling ke Pasir Putih ini antara kawasan-kawasan di negara kita yang kadar kemalangannya tinggi, ya, umpamanya kalau musim perayaan.
He said this in response to frequent users' complaints on damaged stretches of the East-West Highway. The Human Resources Ministry accreditation of 25 companies to recruit workers from Bangladesh was done to avoid monopolistic practices as well as to safeguard the welfare and livelihood of the workers. In a statement today, its Minister Datuk Seri M. Saravanan also refuted allegations pertaining to the involvement of Bangladeshi Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina Wajid in the selection of the recruitment companies, saying that this is totally false and unfounded. He explained that his meeting with Sheikh Hasina was to narrate the current situation of foreign workers and the initiatives taken by his ministry for better working conditions. He added that the ministry will further accredit another 250 companies which will incubate and operate within the structure of the aforementioned 25 companies to be part of the recruitment ecosystem, especially in meeting set standards and guidelines. All the designated companies will be closely monitored so as to guarantee that the International Labour Organization guidelines relating to the welfare of the workers are adhered to. The ministry, according to Datuk Seri M. Saravanan, does not practice preferences regarding certain source countries, and as of now, there are 14 source countries in which companies can source their workers from. To date, the department has approved approximately 230,000 workers. Coming up, government aims 55% of SPM holders to study in Tibet by 2025. The Ministry of Higher Education MOHE is targeting at least 55% of Sijil Pelajaran Malaysia SPM holders to further their studies in the field of technical and vocational education and training TVET by 2025. Its Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Noraini Ahmad said the target was in line with one of the initiatives stipulated under the 12th Malaysia Plan, namely for university graduates to obtain the Malaysian Skills Certificate SKM. She said efforts to empower TVET required the cooperation of various parties, including industry players.
Kita besarkan lagi ruang dan peluang. Inilah waktu dan ketika untuk kita menarik lebih ramai anak muda untuk menceburi bidang TVET. Dan saya nak menjadikan satu ataupun ini mencadangkan agar ianya menjadi satu daripada asbab untuk kita membantu dasar kerajaan untuk mencapai sekurang-kurangnya 55% daripada lepasan SPM melanjutkan pengajian dalam bidang TVET menjelang tahun 2025 seperti yang telah ditetapkan di dalam Rancangan Malaysia 17.
She said this when officiating the TVET Empowerment Program at University Tun Hussein On Malaysia UTHM in Batu Pahat today. Meanwhile, UTHM Vice-Chancellor Professor Dr. Rosari Abdul Rahim said the university aims to expand its TVET-based courses offered at the higher education institution in the next 3 years. The Malaysian Fisheries Development Authority (LKIM) has admitted that the country's fish supply is not stable yet due to the uncertain weather conditions. Its chairman, Datuk Syed Abdul Hussein Hafiz Syed Abdul Fasal said, usually in the month of June, the weather would be back to normal, but until now, it has been unpredictable, causing less fish landings. Speaking to reporters after handing out bantuan kasih Suri Keluarga Malaysia in Bukit Gantang, Perak today, he also said that LKIM needs to take the early measure of acquiring as much fish as possible to be frozen during the fishing seasons and abundant fish landings by fishermen.
Maksud dia ialah proses membeli ketika ikan banyak dan murah, kemudian proses bekukan di kilang yang dimiliki oleh LKM dan juga Nikmat, kemudian simpan. Bila musim terkujur, barulah kita keluarkan ikan ini pada harga yang berpatutan.
He also said that the cartel issue involving fish supply arose as LKIM did not make early preparations to keep fish stocks, resulting in the cartels taking advantage of the situation by reducing fish supply in the market and determining the prices. An explosion is believed to have ripped open the shutters of 4 premises at the building of a supermarket in Jalan Bakor, Kuching today. In a statement, the Sarawak Fire and Rescue Department said the explosion has affected 3 shops selling food and 1 clothing store. Also affected was one of the supermarket's shutters. The emergency call of a smoke coming out from the building was received at around 6:48 a.m. A team from the Tabuan Jaya fire station, who was then dispatched to the scene, discovered that there was no fire. However, the shutters of the 4 premises were seen to be torn open, believed to have been caused by an explosion from inside the premises. A spokesperson with the Sarawak Fire and Rescue Department said investigation will be carried out by the forensics units to determine the cause of the explosion. No injuries were reported from the incident. The Kuala Lumpur City Hall, DBKL, had instructed its Economic Planning and Development Department to prioritise the reviewing of the redevelopment of the Pasar Datuk Keramat project after claims surfaced that DBKL had failed to redevelop the market after more than 5 years. Kuala Lumpur Mayor Datuk Seri Mahathir Cik Ngah said he will have to find out the reason for the delay as it involves an agreement with a third party.
Maka ini sedang diusahakan oleh pihak Damai Kuala Lumpur ke arah bagaimana kawasan ini boleh disegerakan pembangunan semula. Namun saya faham ia melalui beberapa perkara yang perlu diselesaikan terlebih dahulu kerana di kawasan ini mempunyai beberapa kita anggap sebagai encumbrances lah, masalah-masalah di tapak. Jadi itu nak kena selesai sebelum tapak ini dapat dimajukan dengan seperti mana yang dirancangkan.
He said this when met by reporters today. On 11 June, another fire broke out and destroyed a shop lot at Pasar Datuk Keramat, an old market in Jalan Keramat Dalam, after more than 40 shops were burned down in March last year. The remains of a popular singer and actress Adibah Noor Muhammad Omar, 52, were laid to rest at the Taman Keramat Permai Muslim Cemetery in Kuala Lumpur at noon. The burial process, which was attended by her father, Muhammad Omar Zainal Abidin, 87, relatives and more than 100 close friends, went smoothly. Among those present to pay their last respects were Dato' Aflin Shauki, Dato' Hanza Isaac, Dato' M. Nasir, Niki Palikat, Remy Ishaq, Linda On and Ziana Zain. The final rites were conducted at the Al-Ansar Mosque in Taman Keramat at 9:30 a.m. A somber atmosphere greeted the arrival of Adibah Noor's remains at the cemetery, and those present could not hold back their tears. Adibah Noor breathed her last at the Gleneagles Hospital at 7:45 p.m. yesterday due to stage 4 ovarian cancer. Meanwhile, the Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah conveying his condolences to Adibah Noor's family. Also conveying condolences on Istana Negara's Facebook page today was Raja Pemaisuri Agong Tunku Haja Aziza Aminah Maimunah Iskandariah. Their Majesties expressed their sadness with the passing of Adibah Noor and hoped that her family would remain patient and resolute in facing this difficult time. Coming up in sports, Excelsior downs Zhao to defend Indonesia Open title. World Badminton number 1 Victor Excelsior triumphed in straight sets over underdog Zhao Junpeng of China today, clinching the Indonesia Open Championship for the 2nd consecutive year. The Danish ace took the first set at Jakarta's Istora Senayan Arena on the back of the super defence against his left-handed opponent's heavy pressure. Zhao's aggressive approach would ultimately cost him, leading to several errors in the second and final set as Excelsior took home the title with scores of 21-9, 21-10. The Olympic champion came into the match having won the Indonesia Masters 2022 just last week. The back-to-back tournaments were highly anticipated by badminton fans after almost 3 years without live audiences in the Indonesian capital due to the coronavirus pandemic. Sabah FC head coach Dato' Ong Kim Swee wants his men to maintain the rhythm and strategy displayed in the first half against Seri Pahang FC last night to notch wins in their next Super League matches. Dato' Kim Swee said all Sabah FC players performed well with an energetic style of play and were able to dominate the match in the first half last night but lost their rhythm in the second half.
Kita bermain dengan begitu baik terutama pada separuh masa pertama. Tetapi pada separuh masa kedua kita hilang rentak dan kita mengambil mudah, dan ini perlu menjadi satu pengajaran di mana kita mendahului dan kita tak boleh selesa dan hampir menghukum kita, di mana pasukan Pahang berjaya mendapatkan satu gol di mana meletakkan tekanan pada pasukan kita, dan ini kita bernasib baik di mana kita dapat mengekalkan bertahan dengan begitu baik selepas dibolosi.
In the match at the Lika Stadium, Sabah FC managed to gain a slim 2-1 win over Seri Pahang FC. Sabah FC's goal was scored by Neto Pessoa and Daiki Kagayama in the 10th and 18th minutes respectively, while the visitors in the 60th minute by Manuel Hidalgo. Following the victory, Sabah FC managed to snatch the top position in the Super League from Johor Darul Takzim JDT by collecting 18 points after 8 matches, a 2-point advantage over the 8-time champions of the league who have secured 16 points after 6 matches so far. Meanwhile, Terengganu FC TFC coach Nafuzi Zain described the victory over Kuala Lumpur City FC in a Super League match last night as a good start for his team. The 44-year-old coach hoped that his side would keep the positive momentum and be able to win their next matches. Nafuzi said after a nearly 2-month break without any competitive matches, he was very satisfied with the performance of his charges.
Saya begitu kepuasan sebab betapa susahnya kita nak menjadikan gol, dan hadir dengan 2 gol malam ni satu kegembiraan. Bersyukurlah, saya syukur, dan terima kasih untuk player semua.
In the match, TFC defeated KLC TFC 2-0 through goals contributed by Habib Harun and Manuel Ant in the 74th and 80th minute respectively. With the victory, TFC managed to wrangle out the elimination zone to clinch the 6th spot in the Super League standings with 9 points. Alright, so that concludes this evening's news at 10. In our top story, enforcement agencies permitted to conduct probe on anyone. Join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. Till then, I'm Shuhaida Arifin. Salam Keluarga Malaysia.